We're in the wreckage of an old submarine base. Don't you remember? It's where it all started. The place where we first met 2 generations ago. Sounds pretty romantic if you put it that way. Battler and Beato could be seen in the ruins of Rokkenjima's underground submarine base. Didn't Final Fantasy VII have a level like this? Doesn't every RPG have a level like this? The cave's mouth opened to the sea, and the gentle sound of the waves drifted in along with the cries of the seagulls. Isn't every level like this the hardest level in said RPG? Why am I getting flashbacks of Sonic 1 Labyrinth Zone? It seemed that the typhoon, which had closed off the island for 2 days, had finally gotten bored and gone away. Beato went down to the shore and lifted up a large sheet. Beneath it was a motorboat. Of course, it wasn't from the time of the war. It was a modern. Pile this up on the boat. Careful, it's heavy. Whoa, this is a gold ingot. I thought they all got buried. I thought something like this might happen, so I snuck this one out beforehand. I mean, if you had time, you've had months, you could have brought a few more, but at the same time, one is plenty. We're not greedy. The single heavy gold ingot was dropped onto the boat. I'm not sure how much this is worth by itself, but it must be quite a lot. Have you ever driven a motorboat before? You're joking, right? It's easy. I'll teach you. She wasn't used to this, but after several mistakes, Beato finally got the engine started. If you go out that way and hop from island to island, you'll see Nijima before too long. Then you can just land on a sandy beach. Aren't you coming? I cannot. I am the master of the Golden Land. I cannot leave this place. What's to be gained from staying? What's to be gained from going? Let's live. I cannot. I have already committed countless sins in countless worlds. The numbers of lives I have taken, the number of sins I have committed is far too great. But you haven't committed any sins in our world. No, that is not true. Go. Go while I'm still in a good mood. Otherwise I may seal the island in a storm again. Battler suddenly spun around. When Beato turned around to see what was going on, her body was suddenly lifted into the air. Then I'll take you back as a souvenir from the Golden Land. Let go! This isn't safe. Come on, don't freak out. Listen carefully, Beatrice. But what? I'm going to kidnap you. But... As Battler quietly gazed at her with serious eyes, Beato was lost for words. If you've sinned, then I've sinned as well for making you do it. So let's carry your cross together. Why am I hearing Ichigo's theme music? I still say Aizen from Bleach and Ted Bear from Cyanide and Happiness are the same person. I made a video once where I used that for the backdrop of the video where I, had a picture of Ted Bear next to Aizen. You guys could see that they're the same person. So let's carry your cross together. Battler. As long as I live, I'll carry your cross. Let's leave the Golden Land, you and me, together. Beato was now too shocked to say anything at all, then tears poured from her eyes and she covered her face. Battler gently set her down on the boat. He undid the mooring ropes. Now, there was no longer anything tying this boat to the island. Let's go. Controlling the boat as Beato had taught him, Battler slowly guided it out. When they passed out of the dimly lit cavern, they were immediately struck by the bright rays of the sun and surrounded by a crowd of white seagulls. As the seagulls flew this way and that, the feathers they dropped in the water seemed to celebrate the boat's departure, as I'm imagining the opening of Final Fantasy VIII. The brilliant sunlight told them that they were now free of the island's curse. The sky, now freed from the seal of the typhoon, seemed too bright to be real. Feeling hot, Battler took off his jacket. It was swept away by the wind and danced through the sky. However, instead of panicking, Battler just smiled as he watched it go. Beato also watched it go. No, she watched the island go. Rockanjima and the golden land she had spent 1,000 years in. Will I be able to live? You will. Didn't you just lose that jacket? Why couldn't the author of this make a separate sprite just for that? Did he? No, he didn't. Okay, whatever. And now I'm imagining Beatrice without her jacket. And an erection. You will. You will. You won't have a magical butler, but there's all sorts of useful stuff out there. There's no need to end... Why am I imagining Beatrice jumping on a chair screaming when she sees a Roomba? Why is the Roomba taking pictures of her panties from below? There's all sorts of useless stuff out there. There's no end to the things you could find on Rockanjima. I'll show you what the world's like. Will I be able to live? Beato repeated the same words again. Battler knew what she meant. However, no matter what answer he gave, he wouldn't be able to resolve her problem now. It's almost like it sounds like she needs a hug. So, give her a hug, Battler. However, there was no way to resolve it. Time and the heart. Little by little, bit by bit, like a chain being cut by the falling drops of water, he would have to sever the curse of the island gradually, over a long period of time, with many, many hugs. Why is Winnie the Pooh walking on the water like Jesus? It might take a long, long time, however, someday she will be free. That's what I believe. Why is that cloud a penis? I am a sinful witch who toyed with hundreds of deaths on that island. Your world is too brilliant for me. No, you will live. I answered immediately and forcefully. Why do you guys suddenly have a Super Nintendo and a TV on the boat? Is that Super Mario World? I answered immediately and forcefully. If you think you need to atone for hundreds of sins, then keep on living and living. Live as hard as you can with everything you've got. That's the only way you can atone. Is that truly the only way to atone for my sins? This reminds me of Willard H. Wright when he was talking to Leon Ushiromiya toward the end of episode 7. That's right. And you'll definitely be able to do it someday, trust me. Battler. Battler. Come on, don't look at me with those teary eyes. It's embarrassing. Forgive me. Then, at the very least, would you close your eyes? Why should I? Hey, your face is pretty close. Foolish man. You ought to be cursed for taking the witch away from the Golden Land. That's why you must close your eyes. It's embarrassing for me, too. As soon as Battler shut his eyes, soft lips covered his. Then they slowly drew back. He tried to open his eyes, but just got slapped. Don't look. I told you not to look at my face. Come on. What's there to lose? You have no delicacy. Don't open them. Not yet. Why? But because I want to kiss you again. The next kiss was on his earlobe. Hey, quit it! Now this is getting really embarrassing. He knew he'd get hit again if he opened his eyes, so he resisted with his eyes still shut. Then, after sighing and tickling his ear, Beato spoke in her usual cheerful, bullying voice. Sorry, Battler. I am a terrible, atrocious witch. Yeah, I know. You're an evil, cruel witch. And so I cannot atone for my sins. After all, I'm the sort of witch who can cackle over hundreds of deaths. You're really something, you know that? But you wouldn't be you otherwise. He accidentally opened his eyes. And when he did, the witch was nowhere to be seen. The golden witch had vanished, like a dream or an illusion, and so had the single ingot they had carried with them. Battler jumped straight into the ocean, and so he made it in time. He made it in time to see the witch again. The witch looked up at Battler, a faint smile on her face. He couldn't hear any words, and yet he heard clearly, Didn't I tell you, Battler? I am an atrocious witch, so I cannot atone for my sins. I cannot live. Are you using the ingot as a weight? Battler desperately spoke back. However, his words only floated out of his mouth as bubbles. As she sank into the inky blackness, Battler chased after her with all of his strength, and then his hand reached her. Battler, you fool. Even though you got off the island, will you throw that away? Off the island alive? I won't let go of you. It pleases me to hear you say that. However, I am an illusion, and you are a human. We have different worlds to go back to. I will return to illusions. You should return to your world. All around them, it was getting darker and darker. The pressure increased as their heads and ears began to throb. Battler's finger began to slip, and then at last their fingers separated. At once, Battler rose towards the world of light, and the witch sank toward the world of darkness, torn away by a powerful force called gravity. The witch saw Battler's body rise towards the shining surface and relax. So long, Battler, and thank you. When she saw Battler's body become a speck and disappear towards the world of light, the witch slowly closed her eyes. She allowed herself to fall into the world of darkness, a world of endless isolation. Then she felt something. But that was impossible. After all, Battler had already disappeared in the distance, and yet this was Battler. Battler who had chased the witch here. You think I'll let you get away? You're my golden witch. Battler, you fool. You fool. If you intend to fall into the abyss, I'll fall with you. If it's a world of nothingness, we'll disappear together. But until the very last moment, you will be mine. Okay, Beatrice, you're going to let go of the gold ingot in order to save Battler's life. The two hugged each other tightly. Fate didn't try and tear them apart again, and so the two became one and sank into the abyss together. Or you could have just stopped trying to commit. Then, in the pitch-black world where nothing else could be seen, something sparkled, a warm golden sparkle. It was a golden rose. It floated down to the world, covered with innocent white sand. Half buried in the sand was a small box. It was Beatrice's cat box, which rested in peace here at the ocean's floor. The golden rose drifted down to rest on top of it. It was a story of the deep, deep ocean depths, a small, almost trivial tale of the dark and inky blackness where rests a faintly glowing rose of gold. $19.98. A black luxury car was parked at the rear entrance of the skyscraper. Men wearing suits were packing a heavy-looking attaché case into its trunk. Let me handle all the rest.